Happy end of semester.
Happy end of semester.
And welcome everybody to Teaching in Scrub.
Welcome to Teaching in Scrubs. We have been talking about doing this for a couple of years now.
Yes,
And
several years.
we start it and then we get sidelined with life and then we decide that here.
It's so important.
Yeah, it's
So important.
we're excited to do it. So
I'm
we
really curious, how'd your semester go? Were you teaching in the clinical setting?
I was teaching in the clinical setting. I had two groups of med surge students in the hospital and it was so fun. It was intense. We had long days. But as ever, the end of the semester, you're like, yes, we're done. So getting wrapped up right now, doing wrapping up comments, recommendations, that kind of thing, kind of getting ready for wrapping up that, but also getting excited about starting a new semester. So
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like you had a great wrap up if they want you to write their recommendation letters.
true.
I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
like that's a lot. That says a lot about what they thought of the semester and then that they're thinking about internships and all of those kinds of things.
Yeah,
Like they're locked in,
yeah.
right? Which is
So
really hope.
you had a clinical group this semester.
I
Talk about that,
did. I
which you're
did.
usually like professor extraordinaire. And so the fact that
Yeah.
you got to, what did that feel like?
It was so great. I love connecting with individuals on a more like, you know, small group level instead of a giant classroom and 16 clinical groups that I'm just kind of trying to make sure everybody's on track.
Yeah.
So to actually be able to see growth over time and help coach and guide that, but also be open to feedback and maybe how we can structure the clinical day differently was just so engaging. I felt so connected to what they were doing in a different way. I'm very connected in the classroom with the big clinical courses, but I miss that, you know, more focused group learning in an actual clinical setting where
Yeah.
they're like real-time practical, right? And so it reminded me of how important and impactful that aspect of nursing school is.
Right.
And I
Right.
have so much gratitude for it because it makes me excited for the next semester,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And to keep like championing clinical and teaching in clinical,
Yeah.
teaching in scrubs,
Yeah. I honestly think this is the best job at the nursing school. Like
100%.
I love being able to work at the bedside with nursing students. So next semester, you and I get to
Hmm.
work together again, of
Yes,
course, which is really fun, which is kind of part of the reason that we always want to do this when we get back to this point and we go, we're going to be working together again and we have so much to share and so
right.
much
And we
knowledge.
should
So,
just record
and we should just
our
record our
training
weekly
sessions.
meetings.
Yes. Because I think that other people will have, I mean, that's what I hear over and over again is it's really great to have resources and expectations, but I want to hear how someone else does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And why they come back to it
Yeah, I think that's
each
always,
semester.
for me, that's always so helpful is just seeing what other people do and getting pearls
Hmm.
of wisdom and having people kind of go, why are you doing it that way? And pushing back. So
Absolutely.
it's super helpful.
Yeah.
Um, so as we get ready for this new semester that's going to start in 5 weeks-ish,
Right.
right?
Right. We have a very short winter break.
What are the, so you will be the course professor for this class, but
Right.
as someone who's just finishing up clinicals, what are your top three things you're kind of thinking about if you were a clinical faculty heading into clinicals in the spring, but it starts in January?
Yes. So, top thing would be I would not wait until the kind of faculty orientation. I really like to plan ahead so that I am not stressed and overwhelmed going into, you know, working with a group of individuals. And so, asking for a meeting prior so that you have a good understanding of expectations and what the course is about and who the students are can be so helpful and just asking for that proactively because the orientation days are quite overwhelming and a big cognitive load. I also would ask for even a previous year syllabus so that
Hmm.
I have, again, some connection and understanding of the course. And last is thinking about the school. What are the rules, regulations, expectations? What's the facility that I'm going to be teaching in? Am I familiar with it or not? or do
Right.
I need to get familiar with it and who's that contact? And then lastly is, do I need to connect with that clinical unit so that I have it on my calendar so that I'm not trying to kind of do that while putting together all the other things to organize the semester. So
Right.
the more that I feel like I have some information and I have some ability to create a structure for the semester, it really just helps me get through those first couple of weeks that are going to be stressful because it's always every group's different. And so just trying to make sure that I have a game plan so that I can pivot and be dynamic in
Yeah.
the moment. But also just thinking about, especially when I take on or am teaching in a new course as a clinical faculty, just really trying to understand so that I can be the translator and coach for
Right.
that student.
Right.
Yeah. How
I,
about you? What
well,
are
I
your
think
three?
I have my three, but I want to ask you a question though on yours. Like we'll talk about more through like this video series on new clinical faculty versus seasoned and experienced clinical faculty, but talk to me about connecting with the unit. Like some people will teach on a unit that they're a nurse on, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
What do you do when you're going on to a unit that's not your unit?
Oh,
Like I'm
yes.
thinking of that. Like,
Yes, that happens to me a lot because I will go and help out and cover if we have a faculty absence or just
right.
something unexpected expected come up. And if I'm walking onto a unit that A, I've never taken care of that patient population, and B, or I'm just completely unfamiliar with, or I'm going to a different hospital.
Yeah.
I want to know who I need to contact to get permission to come
Right, right, right.
and learn about the unit and then who I should meet with. And so sometimes that's the nurse manager, sometimes it's the nurse educator or another leader on the unit. And then I also want to make sure that I have all my access if it's a new facility, right? Can I even get in to
Right.
participate
The
and
door,
learn
the
and do
Pyxis,
all the
the
check?
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And so there's a lot of that dialogue between school and whatever the facility is. And then the other thing is just trying to make sure that I block off. I don't want to stay there too long, right? But if I could just block off, I always say 2 to 4 hours that I can like be present, see the routine of the unit, and ideally during the time that I would
You'd
be
be
there,
there,
right?
right?
Like if I'm going to teach on Thursdays from 11 a to 10 p, I want to be there during that time period so I kind of see the routine of the unit,
Right.
and I start to learn the team
Right.
and expectations. Like
Yeah.
ask as many people as possible, like, what do you like about having students here? How can we make sure that we're like starting to become part of the team and helping,
Yeah.
but also learning?
Yeah, getting feedback from them. I even think that, as you were saying that, I was thinking, even if for someone going onto a unit that it's still really helpful to go and connect so that they're seeing you from that lens, right? Like, hey, nurse manager, I'm here, but I'm gonna teach now. So let's talk. Like, you might be super
Right.
familiar with the unit, but having people see you as a clinical faculty
Yes. How do
versus
you
another
establish
nurse on
that
staff
role?
that day, yeah, that's an
Yeah,
important piece too.
absolutely. How do you establish when I'm in that role on that day? Here's what I'll be able to do, but here's where my focus will be.
Right, right, right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
definitely takes some time.
For my three things that I'm thinking about, my first one is really getting into the mindset of a student and understanding where they are in their program. Are these brand new students who have never been in the clinical
Right.
setting before, which is what ours will be next
Hmm.
semester?
Hmm.
Or are they students who are getting ready to graduate and this is their last clinical and they're rocking and rolling and they should know all these things? So
Hmm.
just knowing their level of confidence, what their knowledge level is, and just like the excitement of being in the clinical setting is so fun. Like this is what they're going to school for, and we get to
Yes,
do it,
yes.
right? So it's
And
such
how can you foster that,
yeah.
right?
How
Getting
do
in
you
that
keep
mindset
that? How
helps.
do you keep that fun and exciting? That's for me, that's a big part of it. It's just understanding, um, just kind of sometimes the giddiness and joy that comes from like getting to do the thing that you're going to school for. I think the second kind of thing that I'm really thinking about is how to be a facilitator and a coach versus an instructor, right? I like to think that a lot of the stuff that students learn, they are learning in a didactic setting, and then we are getting into the clinical space and putting that into practice and um, understanding the mechanics of how it actually works. So I am not there to start from scratch and teach you things in the hospital. I am there to hopefully touch on things you've had some exposure to and coach you through how to do it with this patient and how it's different when we do it with this other patient. So, but really also just getting into a, I'm going to put my hands in my pockets mode and talk you through things and maybe ask you questions so that you are really learning that way versus me regurgitating a bunch of lists of skills, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and I feel like that's its own topic, and we should talk about that separately as just a facilitation, being a good facilitator and a coach. Um, and then I think that it's also my kind of third one is really understanding the needs of the course and what we are doing in this specific clinical setting. What are the clinical goals and what are we teaching and where are the students in relation to that? So it's different than the mindset of a student. This is, for a brand new clinical, our goals are going to be very different than someone who's been to clinical several times, right?
Right.
Um, we might just in the beginning be working on like, what are the course goals? Are we
Hmm.
working on confidence or are we working on really being solid with these specific skills in this specific setting?
Hmm.
So, for me, it's just understanding that some of that comes from the syllabus, but it's also going to meet with a course professor and going, hey, or through the avenue of initial kind of semester meetings, understanding what are our goals here? Like
Yeah.
what's my responsibility as I come to the table here to help shepherd through for
Right,
these
right.
students?
And where are they going next?
Yeah,
How do I need to prioritize the skills that I need to see some growing competency in versus some introduction in, right? Like, what am I trying to reinforce and start to assess beginning competency in, right? Communication, assessment, vital signs,
yeah,
blood glucose checks, thinking about our spring semester.
yeah.
But then, where are they going next?
Right,
That we could maybe start to introduce them to if we're seeing some
right,
beginning
right,
competency in those
right.
goals that
Yeah,
we have.
yeah.
Absolutely. But definitely not starting out with 12 lead EKG
Right.
interpretation
No,
if they can't walk in the room and talk to someone.
no, right, right.
Yes. But sometimes we just want to teach them all the things that we love and are excited about. So
Yeah,
trying to find a
yeah.
balance, I think I like that idea, like the mindset and gathering information and kind of centering yourself on like, what are the major goals in this short period of time I have with them?
Right,
And how do I accomplish that over the
right. And
course of the day?
how do I create something that's consistent? How do I remain consistent with what other clinical groups are doing?
Yes,
Right. So
that's
I'm not
another piece.
like, yeah. So
Students talk.
right, right. Okay, we have so much to talk about. I'm excited about doing this finally,
Yes.
and we will get out there, have fun discussions, and look forward to it.
Yes, we are so excited to invite you into our working meetings where we put together our structure and plan so that we can teach in scrubs.
Yeah. Thanks.